What's going on, everybody? Matty's camera's not working right tonight, so I'm going to be the voice of God sitting in the back talking about everything. Welcome to Suplex City Chats. This is our road to Hell in a Cell. God, let's not have a pay-per-view like we did last year where Seth Rollins gets disqualified in the Hell in a Cell. But before we get to that point, we got to break down who's here. I guess we'll start with the man who's sitting first. He is doing evil deeds or villainous deeds. He is Mr. the Villain.
Yo, let me speak on this. Yeah, man, I can't wait to talk about the wrestling today, brother.
Well, we're absolutely going to do that. We'll move on next to the man sitting next to you on my screen. He is our resident Paynemaker.
Yeah, this has been the best Wednesday I've ever had. Hump day!
Does that mean you got your hump on? Oh, we'll find out later. He is the best that ever is, the best that ever was, the best that ever will be, Mr. JB3.
Yeah, you know he did. You know they took a ride on that Karma Mountain. Just saying. It's time to watch, or not watch. We already watched it. It's time to talk about some wrestling. I'm really interested and excited to talk about Wednesday night. I got a couple words to say about the other stuff too.
All right, and then he is so evil. He is Dose. He is the leader of the Dark Order, Mr. Evil Dose.
Gotta tell you, that fraud Uno spells offense with a C, not an S, a C. Ridiculous. So I had to take care of that. I also watched a bunch of wrestling. I am very glad that we have the voice of God here today because that makes my job as Malachi more official, and I shall declare myself the Suplex City Messiah, and like a true Messiah and a prophet, I will be standing alone a lot tonight, I have a feeling.
Yikes. So like I said, we're going to start into something that the villain absolutely wants to talk about. It is the Hurt Business taking out Retribution, and then the Fiend taking everybody else out. Mr. Villain, what you want to talk about?
Well, what we're talking about right now, what we're discussing is this week's past Monday Night Raw when it opened up with the Fiend. Well, no, it opened up with Alexa Bliss looking beautiful. Looking
we
demonic.
Can't hear you, dude.
I can hear him.
Oh, I can't hear you, dude. Sorry.
Well, shit. Yeah. JB3, you can hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear you, and I guess I'm the lucky one. I guess Dose is.
I can hear him. I can hear Haven loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump out and jump back in while he's doing his thing.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so we had Alexa Bliss in the ring, and then she says, let him in. And then we had the Fiend in the ring, and they both were standing there holding hands. And then the lights go back out, and then Retribution's out there. And I thought this was fucking amazing with the Fiend and Alexa Bliss standing there for almost a minute and a half, like not moving, not flinching. They were literally stuck like statues. Then the lights go back out, and then they're gone. And then we have a 4-man. We have an 8-man tag team match, and Retribution got served like bitches. The second match in the WWE, and they lost both of them. This time, T-Bar tapped out to the Hurt Locker, and then Mustafa Ali looked like a scrub, like I always predicted he would be. This was fucking embarrassing for Retribution. This was embarrassing as shit. Like, it don't make no damn sense. They already lost. So I don't know where they're going to go from here. I don't even see them going anywhere from here. I think this shit is already chalked up to, just end this. And then after the match, the Fiend came out, and he starts laying them all out. Then he went to go put Ali in the mandible claw, but then T-Bar tried to help out, and then T-Bar got the mandible claw. So, that shit was just, you start a show like that with your new group of jobbers, and then they got jobbed out. I don't know where they could go from here. I really don't see no redeeming quality in this. We had pretty much 10 heels out there fighting each other, so I don't know. Somebody else can make sense of this because I sure can't.
Well, if you can, Mr. Dose, then you go right ahead.
Oh, yeah. Prepare to have your minds blown, listener. Okay. So here's what it is. First of all, let's talk about the heel and heel dynamic. Remember when the NWO invaded WCW? Okay. The WCW locker room galvanized together and unified to fight the NWA. Heel and face roles were put aside just for those moments, but they resumed when WCW guys fought WCW. Same thing here. Hurt Business and The Fiend are not faces. They're still heels when it comes to other Raw talent. But vis-a-vis Retribution, they're faces. Or at least they're fighting Retribution. Now, to make it make sense, we all know that The Fiend can hurt, but he can also heal. And when he gets under you, he changes you. So what he's going to do to Retribution is he's going to make them happy. He's going to heal them. They're no longer going to be angry revolutionaries. They're going to enjoy their workplace. They're going to give WWE positive Yelp reviews. They're going to be happy with minimum contracts. They're going to enjoy carrying veterans' bags. They're going to love everything about that place, and they are going to call their group Pacification, and they're going to be so happy. So they can either be happily written off the show that way, or even better yet, converted into evil puppets. Yes, I went there again. So obviously, everybody now is convinced that one of those two things is going to happen. You're welcome.
I like that idea. And something I found online that I'm not sure if it was true. It was posted by T-Bar and then retweeted by The Fiend himself that at Hell in a Cell we're going to actually see T-Bar go off on The Fiend. If they were smart, they would just let The Fiend take him the fuck out and then have Retribution try and storm the ring, and then the lights go down. And maybe you could have The Fiend have Mustafa Ali and Alexa Bliss have the female double sister Abigail's, and the lights go down and they come back and they're gone. I like that at Hell in a Cell if it's going to happen. Paynemaker, you raised your hand. You must have something in mind. Hit it, brother.
Well, yeah, I do have something in mind. Mainly look, Dose, that must have been the funniest long story form joke I've ever heard of regarding Retribution, because that's exactly what this whole thing was, a joke. I said this to Matt and Villain earlier on before we got started. The beginning of Raw felt like I was watching a vaudeville act, a theater program. You have Alexa come out pretty much doing her best Poltergeist impression. Then comes out The Fiend. Then comes out Retribution. Exit stage left, The Fiend and Alexa. Enter stage right, the Hurt Business. And then we got ourselves, when you shake up the dice and then you throw it all together, an 8-man tag match. And then, of course, during the match, you get The Fiend's face with his tongue sticking out, which nobody, and I mean nobody except for the commentators, acknowledges. Because you're supposed to make The Fiend as if he's all-knowing, he's everywhere. If you really want The Fiend to be that omniscient, have his face be on all the screens in the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Execution is WWE. And then, finally, once the Hurt Business gets a win on T-Bar, who, I'm sorry, Dijakovic, you have officially become the weakest link of Retribution, you get The Fiend just pop there as if he was Mr. Rogers, and he invites everybody into his neighborhood, the neighborhood of Payne, as he just obliterates Retribution, and then the Hurt Business just stand there as if, what do we do? I thought these were supposed to be badasses. So if we're going to go on the hierarchy of evil or of heels, you have Hurt Business, Retribution, and The Fiend. At least with Retribution, we know they're assholes, they're heels. We have no idea what Vince does on his storytelling. One night, the Hurt Business are nothing but a bunch of bullies, and then all of a sudden he wants them to be heroes. Next night they're assholes who just want to start fights, and then all of a sudden they want to stand up for the honor of the company. I understand Vince sees the WWE as a jungle, and the Fiend is pretty much the great lion or the dangerous predator. But as far as the Hurt Business goes, if this is the Lion King, they're nothing but the hyenas. They are nothing but picking up scraps from everybody on the Great Pride. While Retribution, they're more of the second pack of lions in the Lion King 2. I don't want to get all Disney on this crap, but because it's so convoluted and I have to pick all these references to make sense, shows that Vince can't even tell me a goddamn straight story within the first 10 minutes of Raw. I'm done.
Okay, you say that about Retribution or the Hurt Business. They kind of remind me of the APA in the 90s, where you could pay them, they go out, they do their thing.
That would make sense. That would make so much sense if MVP was for money.
Because if you remember correctly, before the whole draft thing, Adam Pearce went to the Hurt Business and asked them to take out Retribution, and he said, "We do it, but we get paid to do it." So they're kind of just retelling the same APA story, except for you don't hear "damn" every couple of hours.
Oh, this was
God is right.
Dan would have given Shelton Benjamin a reason to be there.
So they're just retelling the APA story again. I actually like the players in the Hurt Business. I hate to say it, but if Retribution and the Fiend and Bliss actually have a hell of a storyline, it could make Retribution. I hate to say it, but upper card guys.
Pretty sure they were trying to be upper or mid card, somewhere within the upper and mid card area. The only reason why they're not that high up because they haven't attacked. I mean, they did attack the champion, but that was when they were they were faceless.
Well, what I'm getting at though is the fact that you put them on your number one draft pick, the Fiend, the biggest product selling, people of all time. They're saying that the Fiend's merchandise has sold more than Hulk Hogan in the main era of Hulk Hogan.
That's what they're saying.
Well, I mean,
I'm not trying to start.
No. What I'm getting at is that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like they're trying to do is let's put them with him. They can have a run at it, and maybe we can give them the bump. Whether
Matt just talking out his ass, bro. The fucking Fiend's been there for 1 year, and you're trying to say he sold more merch in his lifetime than Hulk Hogan did in his whole 6-year run as the man in Hulkamania. Come on, man. You need to leave that bullshit journalist alone.
Ouch.
I'm going to need a censor for that.
So, all right, JB3, you want to talk about the Hurt Business, or you want to move on?
The Hurt Business is fine. The Fiend is fine. Whatever, he's doing his thing. He's scary. I like what he's doing with Alexa. Someone said it before. The only thing I'm gonna say really is that I'm a little bit disappointed that Retribution, a great idea like Retribution, they're turning it into Sanity 2.0.
Worse.
I was gonna say like a mixture of Aces and Nates and Sanity, but yeah, that hurt.
It would be really interesting if now hear me out. This is a little fantasy booking, and it's probably so far out there it wouldn't make sense. What if with this Bliss and Fiend thing, we throw Nikki Cross in the mix, have her and Bliss get out, go at it, and then have her fall, and then her effectively defect to Retribution?
Don't care about Nikki Cross.
Could care less about that.
All right, guys. Then we're just going to generally move on to Raw and SmackDown. The only thing that stood out to me on either show that besides what we just talked about was the farewell to the New Day. I like the fact that, like when you saw Kofi wrestle Sheamus on TV, they had Big E there, in the crowd. He was still kind of pumping him up. That's a way to keep, New Day whole. I kind of liked it.
Well, I agree with the Paynemaker that it's a travesty that Lana didn't win the championship.
I didn't say that, but I'm surprised that you're able to read my mind.
Okay, then tell us why you thought it was a travesty that Lana didn't win the championship.
I'm actually a little bit serious. I mean, first I thought it was going to happen as a FU to Miro, but it'd be perfectly. Actually, it would have been better if Shayna and Nia involve themselves in the match. Lana wins because of their interference. They pretend that they're celebrating with her. The celebration goes from Lana on Nia's shoulders to a Samoan drop through the table again, and Lana loses the title at Hell in the Cell or next week on TV or whatever. I mean, it wouldn't matter. It would just be a better, more complete story with them messing with Asuka and messing with Lana, and then whenever Asuka, retains the title or whatever, that, maybe Lana tries to get a partner or manage a team or something. I just thought it would have been fun. It would have made the IWC crazy. Everyone would have been saying they're just trying to get a dig at Rusev, which is true, but so what? I mean, if you're at war, fight a war. I mean, do something. It would have been, it just would have been fun. And there's not that much in WWE that is pure fun. What I will say about the earlier segment is that they got the Hurt Business pretty much right. They got the Fiend pretty much right. They got Retribution all the way wrong, I suppose. 2 out of 3. I mean, for WWE, that's Hall of Fame numbers. So
fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, lightning only strikes in a bottle once or twice, right?
Yeah. SmackDown, all the guys who were going to Raw lost. I mean.
Well, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much, I'm just going to quickly say SmackDown. It was just nothing but reigniting old feuds. I mean, Seth gets his ass handed to him. Murphy's trying to turn a new leaf. That could have been done on Raw. But instead, we're getting on SmackDown. The only thing I really enjoyed about SmackDown was pretty much the farewell of the New Day. I thought that they would try this whole thing where Biggie turns his back on the boys and, goes heel or becomes more aggressive, but they didn't do that. They treated this as if this really was an end of an era between the 3 men. And to be honest, I'm actually slightly surprised, and I'm kind of glad about that, because the last thing I want is to see another feud between black wrestlers, because we got plenty of that with the Hurt Business. So I'm glad WWE was able to not go to that well once again.
Yeah. How about this random masked wrestler, El Gran Gordo?
You didn't go to JB3 or me yet, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, then go. This is still Raw or SmackDown I was talking about.
I didn't know. JB3, go ahead, bro.
I don't have much to say. As far as the Lana thing goes, Lana, she needs to keep doing what she's doing, regardless if it was a title match or not, regardless if she's getting buried by the company. She's still showing that she wants to improve, and she showed it in the little bit of time that she had with Asuka. She's improved. She's not really that good yet, but she's a lot better. Like, she did a couple of them rolls really good when she did the arm drag and stuff, like she's getting better. Like, she's trying. You can tell she's trying. So if anything else, just, she keeps working with Natty, just keep trying, just keep doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, over time, maybe she can get pretty good if she really, really, really cares. It's the one thing that pissed me off back in the day about Eva Marie, is because I used to always I'd be on her bandwagon. Like, if you're going to care, then actually do it. And then people won't shit on you. So, same thing with Lana. She's showing that she cares. As far as, like, SmackDown goes, SmackDown, the New Day thing was great. I really, really, really like. I'm curious to see Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins go at it. That'd be straight. I'm super hyped up for the Jey Uso Hell in a Cell match for some reason. I don't know. I like it. I'm digging the whole thing still. It's got this family vibe. I'm still digging.
Save that. We'll get to that.
Well, I thought we were doing it all.
No. I'm talking about the Hell in a Cell sort of thing. Leave that alone. We'll get there.
Well, what do you mean?
Because we're gonna
talking about Hell in a Cell. He's just pretty much talking about Daniel Bryan.
No, he said he's excited about the Jey Uso thing. I'm like, hold that idea. When we get to our predictions and shit, we can discuss how we feel about the whole lead up to it when we get there.
Oh, then I'm good. I have nothing else to say.
Go ahead, Villain.
I don't even know what the hell we're talking about anymore, bro. So SmackDown. I don't know.
SmackDown, Raw, whatever.
The only thing on SmackDown, the New Day farewell tour shit, I could give a fuck less about. I could care less. I know so many people love the New Day, but I could care less. Like, yeah, I don't know. You know, Sheamus lost again, so whoopie-doo. He lost to Biggie, then he lost to Kofi. So he's a 4-time heavyweight champion, but yeah, so he loses back to back to 2 fucking lesser guys. So yeah, that was cool. The Raw. The only thing I'm gonna mention on Raw is Keith Lee again is losing. 10 matches. He 5 were disqualifications. 3 he won, and then 2 he lost. This time he got, I guess, hit in the nuts, and then he just got kicked in the face. So I said it last week. He should have just moved back to NXT in the draft because I could give a shit less about him anymore. I don't really see what they could do with him. I guess he's gonna feud with Braun Strowman. So, yay, woohoo! I'm not gonna watch it. Could care less.
Okay. Last thing I want to touch on before we move on is El Grand Gordo. I thought it was funny that it was a way to bring Otis over, let him kind of slightly continue the feud with him. We got to see him and Mandy Rose together. She gave him another ham. You know, hey, more power to him. That's pretty much all that went down. On the Firefly Funhouse, last thing I want to talk about, they actually introduced Alexa Bliss on the Firefly Funhouse. I thought that was really clever, the fact that they actually brought her in, so it does, kind of interweave her more into the story. She is starting to look more and more like the doll that was left at the Miz's house with their daughter. Just saying, maybe WWE has been planning this all along. We know long-term storytelling in WWE doesn't happen, but if it actually comes out that this whole thing was planned, that's awesome.
Feels more like they were trying to see if they can get Alexa to buy into this, because if Vince does like those long-term stories, he wants to make sure that his wrestlers are invested in it. I mean, come on, with the long story.
Dog food. 2 words. Dog food.
Really?
You're telling me that they were all invested in dog food, bro.
No, you're not listening to me. What I said was, if Vince wants to do a long-form storytelling with a certain wrestler, he will try to make sure they are invested into this. Why do you think everyone hated the idea of Roman being shoved down our throats if, he had no plan for Roman that Roman didn't agree to? I mean, it was pretty much said in past WWE interviews that Roman was supposed to win at 31 before they changed the plan on him, which is why he won at the Royal Rumble. It's why The Rock raised his hand, because there was a long-form plan for him to topple Brock Lesnar. But of course, Vince, being Vince, changed his mind. I'm just saying, when he wants a long-form storytelling around a certain wrestler with an executed plan, he will do whatever he can to get that wrestler invested.
Oh, I got you. I was just giving you a hard time, long term. Yeah, you're telling me they were all involved in dog food. I was just giving you a hard time. All right, let's move on, gentlemen. NXT. I only got to watch highlights NXT this week, so I will be kind of hit and miss. I figured there were 4 main points that we should discuss. Starting off with the opening match, Kushida, Ciampa, and Velveteen Dream. What I saw this match was fucking great. They all look pretty badass. Kushida got the win. If they're trying to build him up, I would say that's a way to do it. Fuck it, Villain or Paynemaker, what'd you think?
I think we should start with a Villain or JB3 first, since they didn't get a lot to talk about when we were talking about Raw and SmackDown. I think these guys should kick it off.
All right, Villain, you want to start first?
It was a good match. Tommaso Ciampa is a workhorse. We all know that. So, I'm gonna keep being a dead horse on here until I'm not here, because NXT to me is just good wrestlers that have matches that I could care less about. Like Kushida's been there, and he's just had a handful of matches. I don't know, maybe because of COVID, he wasn't around that much. I don't even think he's had 10 matches on NXT since he's been signed to NXT. Maybe he's at 11. So yeah, he's got a new He's got a new mean streak. He's not fucking around when it comes to the arms no more. You know, he's always gonna try to get some guy to, you know, tap out. He's looking good, you know, like, and I said Tommaso Ciampa looks great, and Velveteen Dream is kind of just there. Like, you know, sucks to be him, man. You know, after the accusations, after the time off, him being back has really not been to the same level he was prior to that, you know. So yeah, it was a good match, but I mean, a month from now, I'm gonna forget about it. So yeah.
All right, JB3.
You know, I don't know. I think the match was good. Dylan really brought up a good point. There's really good wrestlers, and they're having good matches. But and I'll say this, it's getting better, but their stories are just not there for me. Plus, I'm not gonna hate too. I like Kushida, and I'm glad he won. I'm not gonna hate too much on the fact that Tommaso Ciampa got pinned. Or yeah, I kind of am, because I don't know what they're doing to him. You come back and look like a beast, and he takes the pin. When Dream is right there, Dream could have took the pin. You didn't have to have Ciampa take the pin. Ciampa destroys people, and it's great, right? It's finally back, right? Daddy's home. He's coming. He's finally back. You know, he's back. But no, he's not, because now he just got pinned. But it's not that bad. At least I'm glad Kushida still got the win. The match was good. But their storytelling needs to pick back up to the way it used to be before they went on USA.
All right, Dose.
I will say that if our listeners recall, for the past 3 weeks, I've been commenting on NXT's format. 3 weeks ago and 2 weeks ago, I liked the format, although I didn't love the shows. Last week, they seemed to go away from that format I liked. This week, they went back to it. I actually thought that this was the best NXT episode since they've had that rash of injuries, really going back to Cross winning the title. Not counting the TakeOver card, which was a great card. This match, I don't know what everyone is upset about. I thought it was a really, really solid match. I thought Ciampa getting hit with Dream's cast was a perfectly legitimate way to have Ciampa take the loss. The story has obviously been Kushida is sort of the beast now, and he's the killer. He's like the Terminator. They don't want Ciampa near the title right now at this moment. They're probably saving him for later, which is fine. I actually thought that this was the match of the night for both shows, with the possible exception of a very short match that we haven't covered yet that I like just because it was I just thought it was sort of perfect. But I thought this was a great match. I'm not exactly sure what it's building to, so I get that, but NXT is sort of rebuilding their stories and throwing them together. But my presumption is that Kushida is going to be the one who's going to face whoever the NXT champion is next, whenever they figure out when Finn can come back, or they'll have him challenge Damian Priest for the North American title. So I think it's just to establish Kushida as right now the number one guy. So I thought it was a really good match.
All right, Paynemaker, round us out.
I'm actually all agreeing with Dose here. I actually enjoyed this match. I understand the frustration that Ciampa, he gets the pin here, but throughout this entire match, it was clear that Velveteen Dream was the one taking he was taking all the shit. I mean, he was taking every hit. He was taking bumps. He only threw in like 3-4 moves, and it was mainly his Dream Valley Driver and his Purple Rainmaker. So the fact that this was mainly a Ciampa and Kushida rematch, just with Dream involved, I still like the pace of it. I enjoy the fact that even with Dream involved, Kushida is showing that he's not messing around anymore. He's actually dead serious about the fact that he's here to fight. He's here to win. And also, some of the nice, interesting combinations they were doing with Kushida trying to use his arm lock or his arm bar, or how he was able to always try to find a way to counter Ciampa, to keep him at bay. I like that the storytelling in this match was Ciampa is the workhorse. Dream's there just to get beaten up, but it's mainly our eyes supposed to be on Kushida as you see him balance both of these wrestlers. And Ciampa being hit across the face with the cast is, I thought, was smart. That way Ciampa has not an excuse, but pretty much a reason to want to continue to beat the shit out of Dream. And also pretty much like they're creating like a little hit list for him to keep him away from the title. He's going to take out Dream. Then when he's done, he's going to finish what he started with Kushida. That way, both of these men all three of these men have something to do until it's time to figure out what they're going to do with the next, with either the North American Championship or the NXT Championship.
That's fair. All right, gentlemen. Next up, we have Drake Maverick and Killian Dane taking on Ever Rise. JB3, go ahead and discuss this, brother.
It's growing on me every week because they're doing different ways. Just the thing I just talked about, they're starting to tell better stories, and I thought it was dope that they tagged me, and then try to say like, this is your only friend, you're a piece of, he's a loser just like you. This is your only friend, and then you can just see Drake. If Drake Maverick is, I mean, people could say he's a good wrestler or not. He's small, whatever. He's definitely a great actor. Like, there's no denying that. Like, his face, man, because it's funny, but it's serious. Like, he has this ability to capture your attention in a way where he's funny, and you're like this guy, but then at the same time it's serious. It's like, so like when he snapped with the chair, I was like hyped about it. I was like, yes. I felt the same way Killian Dane felt about it, which is what everybody should have felt about it. But they lost. He was like, they lost. Whatever happened, disqualification. That's how you do a disqualification finish, by the way. You're gonna do a DQ finish. That's how you do it. It told such a story with it. Then he hit the, and then I thought he was gonna get punched again, and then Killian was like, "That's what I'm talking about." He was like, "That's what you need to do." So that was cool. That's what I like, and it's growing on me a lot. I'm curious to see what they do with it.
All right, Villain, what'd you think?
Yeah, I gotta agree with JV3. This is one of the things that I said from the get-go I look forward to each week, because Drake Maverick is such a great actor. He has great facial expressions. He learned that his size, for his size to still be in wrestling, and he's been in there for like 10 years already, shows a testament to his dedication, to his versatility, and just for his acting. Because he could have been there for a month or two and then just got canned, but he's still there. And there's a lot of guys bigger than him, better in the ring, that are not there. So this the odd pair couple is working. I think should I say that? Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if they brought his wife back in, because she was kind of funny, and smoking hot, so she came back in. They did some skits backstage. Like, the wrestling is the wrestling. He was never a great wrestler. But yeah, I want to see where this goes. I want them to go a little more funny with it. I think that's where they should go, is start having some more fun in wrestling. A lot of companies nowadays want to be super serious. And then, they're just missing a ball, because sometimes you have to have that that levity in the program. And this is it. This is the thing that could be funny for NXT. And I think that they could work well. So yeah, it was what it was.
All right, Dallas, what do you think?
One, I think I know when to not kill a joke, so I'm not going to make the same joke about the Bucks working both promotions twice, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the one guy getting a haircut, so that I can't call them the Bucks any longer. It's just a coincidence. I think everybody probably remembers that I haven't liked this one bit. I will say I like this a little bit. So it's starting to grow on me. I did like the end. And what I am hoping to see is that they continue to lose matches, but they're being brutal about it. And it's sort of like a Killian Dane doesn't care if they win or lose, as long as they're being sort of barroom bullies. And then eventually they start winning, and figuring things out. But that's okay. The music needs to go. The little silly dance needs to go. I will admit that I chuckled a couple of times despite myself. That happened in another segment in another show this week. Doesn't mean I liked either, but this pairing is starting to grow on me a little bit, and that's positive. So let's move on.
All right, Paymaker, round us out.
I'm going to keep beating the dead horse that we've all done in this match so far. I definitely enjoyed the dynamic between Killian and Drake. At first, I was not sure where they were doing with this. It was going to be like a stupid David and Goliath team where Goliath warms up to David. But the difference was they did it a much better way. And to build off what Dylan said, Drake's acting alone actually got me sold on this team up. I'll be honest, I may be the odd guy out, but I actually liked the music as a comedy. It's just like a comedy joke. Like, I'm pretty sure now that Payne's going to be more, like he's now officially liking Drake as a partner, that music's going to go. I thought it was just funny. Like, Drake, he was trying to be the happy-go-lucky guy, but now with him, with Killian wanting to bring out the viciousness or the ruthlessness within Drake, we are going to see a change here. So I'm enjoying the music for as long as we still have it. But once it's gone, it's going to be like I can look back at this chapter of their early beginning of the career, and to be honest, it was just funny. Like, you gotta trust the wrestlers to be able to pull this off. You can't try to create scripts and believe that it's going to work itself. You have to give the wrestlers a platform and believe through their performance alone that they're going to be able to pull it off. Sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it won't. But at least you see through the failure on screen where you can improve, not more of, okay, this line didn't work right. Now we just got to write a better line. No, how about just get the wrestler through their personality and through their psychology and body language in the ring and see where it works.
Right, I can understand that. All right, guys, last one to round it out. We got the NXT tag titles on the line. Breezango took it on Oni Larkin and Danny Burch throughout the night. Undisputed Era got fucked up. So they couldn't compete, and Oni Larkin and Danny Burch went at it. Paynemaker, what'd you think?
I said for a while that Burch and Larkin, I don't think they deserved to be champions, but I felt that they deserved a run with the belts because of their dynamic and how they are as a great technical team. And if the end of this match does prove that they have now turned heel, I can't think of a better team for that, especially because these are hard hitters or bruisers, and because they can be able to do the heel tactics, mainly because they're brawlers. I don't know how I feel about their alliance with Pat McAfee, but it's like take it or leave it. But the match in itself, I enjoyed it. I like how we see Lorcan and Burch bring out the more technical side of Breezango to where they could have just been very fast-paced and very, gimmicky with their dancing across the ring. But if you saw throughout this match, there wasn't that much dancing between them because Lorcan and Burch kept them focused on the titles themselves. And I'm actually looking forward. That's one thing NXT hasn't done for a while. I'm actually looking forward to see where this turn of Lorcan and Burch is going to go.
All right, Mr. JB3, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to add something. So
I figured you did.
Yeah. You said something about McAfee. Now, so as this was building up throughout the night, I was totally digging it. I was like, okay, who is it? And then as soon as I seen the dude, I knew who it was. I seen that dork. I knew exactly who he was when I seen him. But kudos to them for one thing, because they were able to, in my opinion, in my prediction, at the last moment, get someone to replace the original person that was supposed to do that. which I now believe that Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch was going to align themselves with Ridge Holland. That's what I think was going to happen now. But since he got hurt, because he was the one that originally took out Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Since he got hurt, and then they had to find out, well, who can take out the other two guys. I think it's probably Ridge Holland was going to take them two out, and then he was going to align themselves with Burch and or Lorcan. And but it's Pat McAfee. Yay. Yeah, but at least we know he'll put on a halfway decent wrestling match with somebody. I'm assuming it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly.
Most likely, honestly.
So Kyle O'Reilly, I swear, if Kyle O'Reilly gets in the ring with him, he better tap him out within 2 minutes. I'm just saying.
Go ahead, Dose.
I have a couple different takes on this one. I mean, first, I don't really mind Pat McAfee being involved. I don't think he's a needle mover in any way, shape, or form, but he acquitted himself very well, and he seems to be sort of a natural at it. And I think for him to be on a show like NXT is fine, as opposed to the main roster. However, I think that this whole thing is dumb. And I'm going to preface my mini rant in saying, I get it. A lot of people are hurt. There's COVID. There's all sorts of plans are changing. So there's things that are being sort of retrofitted and knee-jerk. So I understand that with that caveat. That said, he's coming in with that mask and he's scheming. Well, he has to know two things. One, he's got to know that his guys are going to successfully take out Strong and Fish, assuming they're the ones who did it, but that's the only thing that would make sense. But, you have to be pretty positive that you're going to succeed in that. And number two, he's got to know from that point, or he's going to have to be stalking in Full Sail or the Performance Center for weeks and weeks and weeks until it happens. He's got to know that William Regal, who announced it somewhere around the middle of the show, that Lorcan and Burch are going to get that title match, when they lost the chance for that a week before, 2 weeks before, whatever it was. I mean, Regal could have just as easily said, I'm going to take my number one and my number two ranked singles competitors, throw them together, and go in there. So, it didn't make sense to me that he was there with that little mask, which I don't even know what that, I mean, was like a mini welder's mask. It took the Randy Orton mask and made it sillier. That said, I thought it was fine. Burch and Lorcan as tag team champions, whatever. It's okay. I know they're hard workers, but and they have an interesting style. I would have liked to have seen them won some more matches along the road to get here, but my main rant is about how McAfee had to know the future, or are they some diabolical schemer? I am not convinced, though, that he's going to be fighting with Kyle O'Reilly. I'm not entirely convinced that Kyle O'Reilly isn't the one that's attacking Strong and Fish. And maybe Kyle O'Reilly is in on it. Maybe he's going to be in a new foursome with McAfee and Burch and Lorcan. So I don't know. I mean, that's obviously fantasy booking, and when I get a little bit too creative, I'm almost always wrong. But I think that could be fun. I don't really know what Adam Cole's situation is. I'm not sure if he's really hurt, or if he's sick, or if he was exposed to COVID through Britt, or I just don't know. So anyway, that's it. But I thought NXT was a pretty good show, but I didn't think it was a great show. But the last 3 weeks, I would have given NXT a 5 or less on a scale of 1 to 10. Last night, I would have given it like a 6.5.
Well, hey, all right, Villain, what'd you think of the tag team champ match?
I think it just reeks of desperation, to be honest. This makes no fucking sense. Like, they could have just waited till next week at Halloween Havoc to, if they're going to do a title change. Unless this is going to be a 1 week reign and we have a rematch and Breezango wins it again. Like, I don't get it. I don't know why. They're just shitting their pants, always trying to just come up with something on the fly because they got to compete with AEW, it seems like to me. Pat McAfee, I think it's just, I think it was just an audible, He seems like he's a dedicated wrestling fan. He's got a popular talk show, a sports show, and and if he's willing to come back and do stuff there, like, if I was running NXT, I wouldn't say no, because you want more exposure, and he talks about it on his show. So, it looks like the other guy got seriously injured, so they had to call audible and to bring him in. So it is what it is. But yeah, I just don't know why Fandango and Tyler lost the belts, like, not even less than a month, it feels like. So whatever, I could care less.
Now,
If they don't care about the belts, I don't care about the belts.
Calling it right now.
Man,
Pat McAfee is the newest face of Retribution.
Hey,
Calling
Mac,
it now.
Can you put that? Can you make a banner for what he just said? That was such a fire ass line. What he said.
If they don't care about the belts, he doesn't care about the belts.
Yeah, if they don't care about the belts, then I'm not gonna care about the belts. It's so true. Like,
I mean, what was the point then?
You can buy that jacket that Melania Trump wore.
No. I'm gonna be honest. If this whole Pat McAfee, if this whole thing of Lorcan and if this whole thing with Lorcan and Burch getting the tag belts is just nothing but a freaking placeholder, just for, I mean, look, I look forward to an Undisputed Era fighting Lorcan and Burch. So this whole thing was just like a placeholder, just for another fucking McAfee and Cole rematch. Yeah, they have no importance. They see no importance on the belts.
Hey, Pat McAfee is going to be compete with Braun Strowman on who can kill tag divisions faster.
Hey, JB3, is that better for you? If they don't trust the belts, we don't give a fuck about the belts.
That's paraphrasing, but it works.
Alrighty then. All right. Now
let's swipe left. Let's swipe left from this.
All right. This weekend, Dynamite, Dark, and BTE. I do want to talk about Dark real quick.
BTE was hilarious.
BTE was great. I love the BTE championship that they're playing Gator Golf for it. I think it's funny. We know Dose doesn't really care. If you got to watch something else to watch it, whatever. That being said, something was said on Dark that I think they should have brought up, and it is the fact that Eddie Kingston has brought back the bunny.
I thought it was clear. I thought that was very clear what he was doing.
Well, no. They never brought it up on Dynamite. They never discussed it on Dynamite. They never showed anything about it, and I'm saying they should have.
I will counteract because a couple weeks ago when Eddie Kingston had all of his boys attack a tag team and then people in the support staff, he tells the Blade to get his house in order. To me, I honestly picked it up as if he means the bunny, because in actual life, the Blade and Alex are married. So
I know I'm well aware where that was going, but it's the fact that they didn't bring it up on Dynamite. I think that was total bullshit.
Like recently Dynamite, or
as in like
yesterday? They did in the commentary.
Yeah.
Oh, they did bring it up on commentary.
Yeah, commentary brings it up. Yeah. Commentary brings it up a couple of times when the Butcher and Blade wrestle on Dark, and they did. Yeah.
I'm talking about yesterday.
Yeah, that's the problem with that's the problem I've been saying up here. Dynamite is so great. I think everybody, not Dynamite, Dark is so great. Everybody should watch Dark. Like this week's Dark was 2 hours and 8 minutes long. This was actually longer. This was actually longer than Dark this week. Because Dark has all the not Dark, Dynamite. Dynamite has all the commercials. So Dark was 2:08 and Dynamite was probably an hour and 40. An hour and 35 minutes, minus commercials. And they do bring up stuff, because the 2 times Eddie Kingston was on Dynamite, the first time he said was get your house in order. That was a hint. And then second time when he was scolding them, he was like, where's your wife? Where's your wife? So we knew it was coming. And then, her first appearance was on Dynamite, it was on Dark last night. Her first appearance with Eddie Kingston back was on Dark. That's a wrestling question that I don't know if you could write it, because I don't know if a lot of people watch Dark. That's the problem with it, but they don't transition. That's one of the problems I have with AEW. There's like 5 of them. And that's one of the problems I have with AEW. They don't acknowledge the stuff that happens on Dark. Sometimes they cut good promos on Dark. You never see it on Dynamite. Dynamite seems like, since they only got that hour and 35 minutes or whatever it is, that they got to rush. And that's why some stuff gets sloppy on there. When you go watch Dark, everything looks more relaxed. The wrestlers have more time to wrestle. Everything is good. Everything is fun to watch. Action packed. And I always think Dark is like a better product than anything I've seen every week for like the last couple of weeks, man. The commentary with Taz and Excalibur is always fun as hell. And then we have Ricky Starks up there clowning. When Veda Scott was there, she was doing her thing. And it just seems like a more natural, relaxed, wrestling setting. And then when you go to Dynamite, it seems like, oh shit, we got to do this. Oh, this time is now. Come on, we got to do. Oh, okay, in the next second. And I think that's where I'm seeing a gap, a discrepancy, between both of them. Because to me, like I said, Dark to me is the better product of all wrestling every week. Because it's just more relaxed.
Right.
But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
No, I agree with you, Haven. Dark on most days is better than Dynamite, but it's pretty obvious that you see the difference between them. As you even brought up, because when they're on Dynamite, it's because they're on live television, and of course with sponsorship and with the network having to make them remind them, like, talk about this. I mean, we've seen, like, within the past 3 weeks, we've seen plenty of commercials for the new show that Cody's about to be on, and a part of me feels that sometimes it's because they can never find a time to really wedge that stuff in with commentary, which is why they always try to do backstage interviews like, oh, this past week on Dark, this happened. Or even when you get like a one line or one reference drop to Dark and BET from the commentators. And sometimes it might distract from the actual matches happening, which is why I feel that sometimes on Dynamite, they need to have that, not a throwaway match, but more of a match as kind of like a palate cleanser of maybe a wrestler from Dark and a wrestler from Dynamite, like we just did with Britt Baker and Kylan King. If we just had commentary recently talk about what happened on Dark, that would have been a great example. But at the same time, it's Britt Baker, so I'm like, hey, I'm not going to say no to whenever Ronnie wants to call her a domineering bitch. Character-wise, not personally, but character-wise.
Okay, so yeah, I was just throwing it out there. I thought that commentary, they could have thrown it, even just a little bit where he goes, my family is back together, and shown that on Dynamite, and that would have been it. That's all I was saying. All right, let's move into the first match. Go ahead, JB3.
Real quick, I got to say something about Dark too, because Dark is dope.
Yeah. Dark
villain
is
ain't lying. Villain, he might be a villain, but he's not lying. He's not lying. Like if there's one thing that if there's like what's her face said in the end game, there's one thing he is he's not a liar.
Gamora, yeah.
So
that was actually Nebula.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh shit! Slip.
And then Thanos had his head chopped off. But what I wanted to bring up is BTE was slowly over time building up, and Dark, mind you, actually BTE and Dark combined is building up probably one of the best stories on Dark, and one of the best matches that's about to happen on Dark coming up, and it's Brandon Cutler versus Peter Avalon. That is going to be, it's going to go, man, like that's all from like that story.
AEW has shown how you can do disqualifications and countouts, not just to protect somebody, but to actually push a story forward. I got more entertainment. The Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler feud, partnership, and then feud again has been more entertaining than any heel turns or face turns that WWE has put out. And the BTE Championship, so far, I was more entertained with the first round than I was with whatever they were doing between Apollo Crews and Bobby Lashley, or with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. And that is saying something.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, it's like good. It's such a good feud, and it's been going on for over a year. It all started with them talking shit about their losing records.
I wanted to add on that. I didn't know how much time we were going to speak on the side shows, but man, the president of the company doesn't come out that often. But he shows up for this segment to show Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler's grudge match, boxing style, MMA style press conference, where you have managers and lawyers on the side of them. And, they were both dressed fresh. And, this shit was better. Like JB3 said, man, this was entertaining, and it sucks because it was on BT. If this was on Dynamite, I could see this getting like a 4.0 rating, this segment alone. Everybody would have been calling all their friends. Say, hey, man, get back into wrestling and watch this shit right here. Tony Khan's out there in the middle. He almost got punched in the face. This shit was fucking funny, man.
It was
and that's the only thing that's the only thing that sucks about talking wrestling here is because we never really get to BTE. We never really get to Dark because then we'll be here for another hour and a half. Because there's just so much content AEW's pushing out, and WWE pushing out a lot of content too, But they're just on television. Yeah, it's
AEW.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, but yeah, that's it for me. So go ahead, guys.
I like the fact that I like the fact that Peter Avalon had Ricky Starks kind of in his corner, and Brandon Cutler had Jungle or Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus, yeah.
That shit was funny. And Luchasaurus is just sitting there all business-like and Ricky Starks is sitting there like the bully in the corner. Come on, motherfucker, hit him.
Remember, Brandon Cutler almost went bad in that second match. He had that die thing. And Leva Bates was like, don't do it. Don't do it. You don't need this. And he was like, I'm not going to do it. I was like, yes.
Because Peter Avalon would have picked that motherfucker up and just went dink.
I agree with you. If this was on Dark or Dynamite, it would have been great. But I love the fact how their feud developed on BTE. So logically, storytelling wise, it did make sense. But hey, if this popped up on Dynamite, I thought that would have been. I would have.
There you go. There you go. We'll see on the undercard for Full Gear. One of them get their first win. Watch.
Yeah, they're on the buy-in. I won't argue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's move on. Because we got a lot of shit to discuss still. So we got the first one in the World Championship Eliminator match: Jungle Boy versus Wardlow. This was a good match. I don't think any of us actually believed Wardlow was actually going to lose this match. Wardlow looked like a big sweaty man, something like Vince McMahon would have booked. It worked. Jungle Boy got some offense in, but Wardlow got the 1, 2, 3. Dos, what did you think of this big boy destroying this little boy?
I don't think he destroyed him. I think Jungle Boy was in it way too long. Jungle Boy is ridiculously small next to Wardlow. The match should have been a squash, but people seem to think Jungle Boy is someone to build around. They're wrong, but that's the way it's going to be. But the match was kind of sloppy, but it ended. Right guy won. That's all I have to say on it.
All right. Dylan, what do you think?
I disagree with Evil Dose. Seems like we're doing that a lot nowadays. Philosophy, I like Jungle Boy. Like, that dude's the future, yeah, he's little, but I mean, he could bulk up 10 more pounds. Wardlow, it's interesting because 4 of these guys that were in this tournament, I'm not going to butcher the name of the tournament, so I'm just going to call it the heavyweight title tournament, whoever, wins. But they were on Dark the night before. So each one of these guys got to showcase their talents, get a win before this night, so that was pretty cool. And Wardlow, he fought a guy that all he did was 2 moves, and then he pinned the guy like on some savage shit. And Jungle Boy was really good. Jungle Boy fought some fat dude from the woods, and that dude was impressive as shit on Dark. So yeah, this match was a good opener. Jungle Boy, he deserves all the time he could get in the ring, and Wardlow, I'm glad to see him get a W. So yeah, this was the right way to start off Dynamite.
There you go. All right, GB3.
Yeah. I was expecting Jungle Boy to win, and I was gonna go on a big old rant about it. I was already planning on it. I had Matty download pictures and everything. Like, I was good. But then Wardlow won.
Would you like to when you're done? Hold on, sorry to cut you off. Would you like to kind of give us a little cliff notes of your rant when you're done?
Oh, I can bring it up right now. It's still something that exists. So first off, with the match, I'll say it was a good match. I do like Jungle Boy, even though he is small. At least he kind of has a body. I think that if you're gonna be little, because you can be little, you just got to be muscular. You got to hit the gym. Like I said, Marco Stunt looks like a kid, but he could hit the gym and he could look like. I mean, he'd still look weird, like with muscles, because he looked like that. That's a whole nother thing. But what I was gonna say is that I kind of had an epiphany. Someone might have brought it up before. If I was probably a little bit, haha, and may have missed it. But yeah, I think that Tony Khan is like, I think he's the anti Vince McMahon in so many ways. Not the way he just books AEW, but Vince McMahon loves sweaty men. So many big men get buried on AEW by little guys. I was like, Tony Khan, he's the opposite. He loves the little guys. That's why Orange Cassidy is beating people and Darby Allin is beating people and all Marco Stunt was pinning people. I think because Tony Khan is exactly the opposite of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was like, oh, he's big. Oh, it's good shit. And then Tony Khan is like, hey guys, Orange Cassidy's gonna take the pin, okay? So that's it. It was just that they're so it's like yin and something. I don't even know if they balance each other out. They're like the anti each other. It's weird. Yeah, that was what it was.
Which is why AEW works, in my opinion. But all right, Paynemaker, you're up.
You guys, look, I understand the fact of Jungle Boy, his size is an issue, especially if you want to try to build someone as a believable champion or a believable contender. But let's not forget, when the Young Bucks started, before they got that muscle definition they have now and what they were developing in New Japan, those dudes were like in the size of Jungle Boy, not like height-wise, but more of body weight-wise. They looked very slender. They looked very lean. They had what they lacked was muscle definition, which is why whenever in Japan, they were always junior heavyweights. It wasn't until they bulked up they wanted to be part of the heavyweight division. So I do agree with his villain. We see a little more on Jungle Boy. We can't believe that this dude can fight in the heavyweight division. But even then, this match alone, what he lacks completely in size, you saw throughout the match. He made it up in fast-paced action with energetic, explosive moves. Yes, it got sloppy a little bit because you're literally seeing two different styles clashing. Wardlow, the big power guy, who like when we saw in Dark, he needed only 2-3 moves to take out a dude. And then you get Jungle Boy, small guy, but he's high in stamina because every time Wardlow tried to knock him out, Jungle Boy kept being resilient. And that's what this match was all about, to show the difference between Wardlow as a power man and Jungle Boy as someone who is small but very resilient in his constitution, not wanting to give up until Wardlow has to throw that death nail in his coffin, which was the F5 times a million.
Yeah, that move is nasty. All right, guys. I don't think there's much to say here. This match was 19 seconds long. I actually timed it. I went back and timed it from start to finish. It took Kenny Omega longer to get to the ring than he did to whoop Sonny's ass. I hate to say it, but I kind of think they admitted that Kenny has gone back to his cleaner persona. V-Trigger, One-Winged Angel, and it's over. JB3, you want to talk about that?
Oh, for sure. I thought that was pretty crazy. So first off, the entrance. Soon as what's his face?
Justin Roberts.
Yeah, as soon as he started talking and introducing him, I started laughing immediately because, like, I kind of knew the vibe that I was finna get. Like as soon as he started doing it, everybody as soon as they seen it got that Hollywood Rock intro when he showed the Hollywood stuff, but it was cool. And then Kenny Omega, I don't know, like, okay, I'll say this, like Like I'm all about beautiful women, being there. Those two girls, man, they could have put something else on. You could see their ovaries, but they could have covered up a bit. But I get what they were doing. They had the brooms and they were showing the cleaner was back. And he went through, and I'll let Dose break down the crazy match that happened. But and everything that happened after it.
DB3, before Dose breaks down, I want you to look up New Japan. There's this female on New Japan who's on the side who accompanies Bullet Club. She's called Tokyo
Bunny.
Huh?
The dude the chick that's with the pimp?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You take a look at her. Jeez, every time she comes down the ring, you're not seeing her ovaries or you're not seeing her skin.
I mean, come on, if we're going to talk about that, we might as well talk about the time that Maria Kanellis got up on the ring apron in New Japan and fucking distracted AJ Styles and
New Japan, you had the same entire Ring of Honor too, man.
They shot the camera inside of Lacey Evans' booty hole.
But
I may or may not have that picture saved on my computer.
Wow. Kenny Omega, look, it was a great match. It was a nail biter. Dose.
I thought everything about this was perfect, except for JB3's vision, because I didn't see any ovaries, though I guess technically speaking, I'm not exactly sure what an ovary would look like. But
I'm sure he can explain it.
I know what the function is, but I thought this was great. The announcement, the screens, the coloring, the women doing the sweeper thing, but just doing the same three moves over and over again. Complete 80s video game retro dancer style. The brevity of the match, and Sonny sold the. Knocked out, getting his wits or her wits, whichever pronoun he or she prefers at the moment, together, but also being what's the word I'm looking for? Just insecure in whether or not Kenny was really being congratulatory or was about to kick ass the second time. Yeah. So Sonny did. I'm just going to say Sonny did his job really well, and for all the people who are saying that. They did this to Sonny because Sonny is black, or Sonny is gay, or Sonny is this, or Sonny. No. If Joey Janela got pulled from this match because he was exposed to COVID, it would have been exactly the same thing, and I would have enjoyed it more with Joey Janela because I don't like Joey Janela. That said, I don't think Joey Janela would have sold it as well as Sonny did, so I think it actually turned out better. This was perfect. This was my favorite part of the show. This might be my favorite segment of the year, besides Firefly Funhouse. I just thought this was perfect. I can't get. Meltzer has his 5 stars. Well, I have my 5.1 stars, and this gets 5.1 stars.
Whoa! Holy shit! We'll write that down. This segment definitely did right. Villain, go ahead, brother.
Oh shit! I'll go to Ryan first, and I'll come back to me because I'm bringing it up.
All right, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I got a friend.
What was that, JP?
I was talking to Villain. We was talking about our activities.
Look, if one thing Kenny Omega knows what to do, he knows how to tell a fucking story. And if you saw from his entrance to when he started, it was pretty much Kenny's like, I'm done playing things AEW's way. I'm going to do things my way. You don't want the cleaner. You don't want Mr. 6-star match. You don't want Mr. 70-minute time limit breaker in New Japan. Too bad. You're getting him. And this match, and even then after he pins him, the look on his face, the memes that is going to pop up from that, just not impressed, disappointed, because Kenny, even in some BET and some BET skits, Kenny has said nobody here is on his level. So guess what? The storytelling that we're going to see throughout the tournament is nobody is on his level. Now, his next match next week, we're going to find out if it's going to play out the same way or something different, but I'm going to hold off on that. But it was just fantastic. And I did see the same reports that people were saying that Sonny Kiss got buried. Hell no. Sonny Kiss did his job. Sonny Kiss came in. And you know what? This could lead to something down the road where Sonny becomes more aggressive in his matches because of what happened with him and Kenny Omega. AEW, despite some execution misses, they are good at long-form storytelling. It's what we saw with Hangman Page to the breakup with him and Kenny. It's what we're seeing with the Young Bucks of them finally getting serious in the tag teams. So I'm going to tell everyone to put a pin on what you thought happened to Sonny and just stay focused on the tournament.
All right, Villain, go ahead.
Yeah, this opening to me reminded me of Rocky 3 when Thunderlips was coming out. Because we didn't know who Thunderlips was. We heard he was some big, strong guy, but Kenny switched it up. So when Kenny came out to the ring, he had the women dancing with the brooms. He came out with more swagger than we've seen. The way I've been saying it, I thought he would have came out, with a skirt on, but he didn't. So this was a unique entrance, something we haven't seen Omega do in AEW. So you knew shit was real. And this match draws a lot of parallels to another match that we have had on AEW this past year. And that was on AEW Dark when we had Hikaru Shida when she fought Red Velvet when she was beefing with Penelope Ford. She came out to the ring, and then she jumped in the ring. She gave Red Velvet the high knee to the face, picked her up, did the Blue Thunder Bomb, or the Michinoku driver, if you want to get technical. 1, 2, 3. So we had the same thing happen here. Kenny Omega came in the ring. He hit the high knee to the face, picked up Sonny Kiss, and then he hit him with the One Wing Angel. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they were both African American wrestlers that got the pin. That took the pin. But I mean, this was the second time I've seen this on AEW, and it worked both times. Because when Hikaru Shida did it, I was like, oh shit. That's why she's a champion, and then she rolled out the ring, and then she jumped the barricade and beat the shit out of Penelope Ford. And this time too, Kenny Omega, he took care of business, said, hey, I'm coming for that title now. I'm not playing around no more. So I like this development, So that's the journalistic stuff I was researching, to keep it professional here. And yeah, this shit was an eye opener right here.
Man, fuck that professionalism. We are Suplex City. We don't give a fuck. Oh wait. All right, guys. This, in my opinion, was match of the goddamn week, maybe match of the month. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yes, I know there was a little bit of a botch at the end, but holy shit. Can Penta El Zero M take on his brother Ray Phoenix? Fuck, man, this match, I haven't seen what Meltzer gave this match yet in his quote-unquote star rating, but it was fantastic. And I love the fact of watching Penta go from I'm gonna fuck you up to my brother's hurt, and I'm getting more worried about that as we go. There's so much shit that we could talk about. Villain, where do you want to start?
Yeah, man. I was surprised they actually did this match, especially with these guys being actually brothers, real life brothers. A lot of people here already fantasy books, so I'm gonna do a little fantasy booking. I wish they would have went the finger poke of doom route. I wish Eddie Kingston would have, walked them guys to the ring. These guys would have both been looking at each other when the bell rang. One of them just tapped the other person on the chest, fell. Then 1, 2, 3, and then Eddie Kingston and Butcher and the Blade and all of them could have been jumping up, cheering, saying how they screwed AEW management out of a match, screwed fans out of a match. But yeah, that was a scary spot, which sucked, especially when you're fighting your own brother. I can't even imagine how that is. Especially, if you're wrestling against, just another wrestler, when a spot happens where the guy gets his bell rung, you feel bad for him. But when it's your blood, that must, go like 10 times harder in your mind. But the Spanish Fly looked the dope as fuck. And I was surprised at the outcome. I thought Pentagon would have got the win, but it's Ray Phoenix. So, Kenny Omega ain't gonna be having that sweet shit next week, because Ray Phoenix ain't gonna lose in two moves. This is gonna be a 10, 15-minute match. This is gonna be where the match of the week next week. Ain't gonna be none of that tomfoolery this time, because Sonny Kiss is not Ray Phoenix, and we're gonna see that shit next week.
All right, go ahead, Paynemaker.
There's there's so much of this match that was so good. I liked with Eddie Kingston on commentary. He wasn't trying to talk any of these guys down. He's pretty much, whenever a big move happened, when those guys went into cross chop battle, it was just more of a, these are my friends, these are my buddies, these are my brothers. I love the fact that Kingston says it doesn't matter which one wins, as long as one wins for the family. And even then, I like how in some of the storytelling you see at starts, Phoenix wants to be respectful, but then Penta is just no. This is like both of these men getting their frustrations out on each other. Finally, they don't have Kingston in the way to break it up. And the moves they were doing throughout the match. I mean, when Penta hit his hand against that pole, I thought he heard something there for a second. And then that head scissor though, man, it looked like Ray was slightly out of breath or a little knocked out for a second, because when Penta went for that twisting DDT, you can tell that there was a little bit of a slow pace before Phoenix woke back up. And I'm not saying that he was legit hurt though, but it looked like Phoenix was a little too he went too overzealous when he did that with that head scissor. But in the end, the match goes. I thought it was going to be Penta as well. Get ourselves a Omega and Penta rematch from All In, but instead, it's Ray Phoenix, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Kenny and Ray are going to be paired against each other for the first time in AEW.
All right, Dose, what you thinking?
Eddie Kingston's family can't catch a break. They finally get the bunny back in the fold. Not exactly sure how it happened, but they brought the bunny back in, and now Ray and Penta are breaking up. I think this match told a good story. Everyone already covered it. I don't know what all the excitement is over the match. I didn't think that it was particularly good outside of the story. I have seen these two fight before in matches, and every other match I've seen with them facing each other has been better. From Lucha to Impact, and occasionally on some indie shows or whatnot. I guess I'm missing something, but I didn't think this was. Maybe the bar is so high for these guys when they're together. I mean, Ray Phoenix and Pentagon are two of the exceptions to Jeff being a sizist rule. I think both these guys are really interesting and really spectacular in different ways. Pentagon has a great personality. He's like Asuka, doesn't need to know any English to communicate exactly what he's saying and tell a story just with his body language and his face and his intonation. Ray Phoenix is a spectacular high-flying talent. I have to tell you that now that they finally got good jobs, neither one of them has worked out at all. If you look at Ray Phoenix from the final season of Lucha and Impact, he was a muscular guy. I didn't see anything on him. Pentagon is slim and with a gut. It looks like they are both adopting Eddie Kingston's workout style. And I don't know if that's impacting their ability, their smoothness in the ring. Maybe it's just rust, but I didn't think anything about the match was special. I think that everybody's projecting what they've seen from these two guys together and apart before and imagining that this was a great match. It wasn't. I don't know if Ray is really hurt or not. I hope he's not. But just Eddie Kingston just can't catch a break with his family.
All right, JB3.
No, I thought it was a great match.
Your eyes haven't even been open the whole show.
Hey, that's okay. They were open when I watched the match, and I thought it was fine.
I didn't see it.
I mean, yeah, it's all right. We're all entitled to our own. I liked it just because, and not like you, I didn't follow them in Lucha Underground too much. I didn't really watch too much of their stuff in TNA or whatever. So yeah, this is one of my first times I've seen them wrestle together. So I guess that might be part of it too. But I really liked it because if there's any time to put someone in a tournament or put brothers against each other, it's in a tournament. They're competitive. They're brothers, so it made sense. Eddie Kingston was great on commentary. I love how he hyped up the slaps when they just started doing the slaps. He gave a reason why, like this is what they're doing.
That's called the pissing contest.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like him a lot. But botch, no botch, whatever. I just like that you could tell they got really, really good chemistry together. I mean, obviously they're brothers, and they probably wrestled each other's over a million times. But I don't know. I just really, really liked the match. I thought it was good. It had great false finishes, great storytelling on the fly with some of the scares and whatnot. You see the camera on Pentagon's face, and I'll say it. He looked really concerned. It makes sense because it's his brother, and he should be concerned. So even if they tried to, show it on camera, it did show it on camera, and it was probably real. I get it. When Shinsuke Nakamura almost killed John Cena, it was kind of John Cena's fault. Side note, a little bit, kind of. But at the same time, you could see the concerned look on. You're gonna have a concern for your peer, but it was so believable because they were brothers in that moment. I just really liked it.
I love that finishing sequence where Penta was going for a move, and then all of a sudden it got flipped into a destroyer into the 1, 2, 3. I just and the shock looked on Penta's face. All right, let's move on to Le Dîner Debonair. Let's go on a date with MJF and Chris Jericho. This was fucking hysterical. I could understand why some people weren't for it. Me personally, I thought it was goddamn hysterical. I love the whole "my dick's bigger than your dick" sort of thing. Into the Rat Pack song and dance. This was just, God, this was great. JB3, what'd you think?
I was really confused. I didn't hate it. I was just watching it, and then I was just like, what? Like, it's weird. Like, people hated it. People loved it. People thought it was the best TV out of 2020. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you. I just watched it, and it ended, and I was just kind of like, oh. Like, obviously, they didn't do bad. It's Chris Jericho and MJF. They know how to talk. They know how to do segments. Chris Jericho is weirdly good at doing some odd, crazy, weird stuff, like a musical. The lyrics were like switched up to talk about wrestling stuff that happened on the diet. So whatever. It was weird. It was not bad, not great to me. It was just like, okay, I'm supposed to feel a type of way, but if there's anything to take from it in a positive way, Chris Jericho and MJF are just brilliant when it comes to like doing stuff in front of a camera.
All right, Paynemaker, what'd you think?
I understand not many people are going to get this, but of course, as a theater major, and of course as a big wrestling fan, and someone who's big into characters and storylines, funniest thing I have ever seen, the back and forth between Jericho and MJF changing their meal order reminded me of the Key and Peele sketch when it was those guys trying to decide who's the blackest by trying to go like, oh no, don't give me grits anymore. Give me some big mosquitoes, like give them big motherfuckers, like trying to discover how black you are. That's what it reminded me of when I mean, sure, you saw it as a dick measuring contest. I thought it was just more they were trying to upclass each other, like, oh no, I won't take my steak medium well. I'll take it medium rare. No, I'm gonna take it rare. No, you make it the rarest steak you've ever seen it. It was fantastic, and the timing was great too because it wasn't as if it was going back and forth. It was just more of, oh, what's her name? It's Thelma? No, Velma.
Thelma.
Yeah, I know. I love the back and forth there. It's like they both made that back and forth their own, and it was, and you can, and there was definitely good motivations between the two of them, and I love the fact that they find. I'm pretty sure Evil Dose is going to appreciate it that they gel together when they say that it's going to get us over as Orange Cassidy. That joke itself was funny because it was. I mean, I could break this whole damn thing down, but I feel like it's going to take up too much time. But I'm just going to jump into the musical sketch. That threw me off. But then the way that those guys just made it seem effortless, including dropping the girls, was just funny as hell. And so I just thought, you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I know Jericho makes it work. I've seen MJF and MLW with his promo, so I know he can make it work. So it was fucking fantastic.
All right, Dose, what'd you think?
I don't mind comedy. If comedy's done right, it's good. I normally appreciate these two together. They work very well together. This started out really good. First of all, they were at an uncomfortably small table. Jericho's in his crushed velvet dinner jacket with a bow tie on, like he's on a date and all. And MJF is dressed up too, acting like a cock. And I very much appreciated how he couldn't say Velma. He kept going Thelma or vice versa. But he refused to get her name right, even though Jericho was sort of being the gentleman sort of it. He didn't like the wine. Then they ordered their steaks well done. Well, first of all, nobody orders their steaks well done unless you're 5 years old. So let's start right there. So it started losing me right there. Okay, put your hand down. Put your hand down, Theater Major. Just enough. Mute him. Anyway, this.
I'm just saying my sister ordered. on this. I'll fight you on this.
This is fun. All right. Listen,
Andy's gone.
I am one of the people who hated this. I thought it's terrible. It was a bridge too far. I missed a lot of the jokes because I was looking there in shock. I could not believe what I was looking at. I felt like Sugar Ray Frog should have come out or done something. And you know what? If they cooked up this bit and they thought it was so funny and they wanted to work together, I could have forgiven them for doing something similar to it, and they could have made it work. And so I'm not just going to come with the problems and complaints. I'm also going to come with a solution. And here could have been the solution. They're at dinner, they're staring at each other, and they each have this little daydream sequence while they're staring down each other. And it's the same number, except in Jericho, he's leading it, and MJF is following his lead and saying, oh, you're so good. And MJF is having the same daydream, except he's leading it, and Jericho's following him. And then they come out of their little dream sequence, and they're staring at each other, and they're like, what are you staring at? The same time doing simultaneous speaking? What are you staring at? Nothing. What are you staring at? I'm not staring at anything. I'm just staring at how good looking you are. Oh, that's all. Me too. Thanks. Great. And they could have gone back to their regular shtick. The issue with this is not that it was comedy and not that they wanted to showcase their talents if you thought this was talented or not. I couldn't do it. So I'm going to call it talented. The problem with it is that it's canon. It is part of the wrestling storyline. Okay, it's not on the shtick show. It's not on Dark, which nobody watches. It's not on BTE that nobody watches. It is on their main show. This is part of the story that they went to dinner as rivals and all of a sudden did a song and dance routine with dancing girls ready there, or Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders, whatever it was. And then they sat down again and were ready there ordering raw stuff. It was dumb. And it could have been saved just by doing that thing or not doing it all. But I mean, that's the difference between Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue and Cop Rock. This was Cop Rock. Cop Rock got canceled.
So we've learned Evil Dose doesn't like fun. Dylan, what do you think?
It can be produced by WWE.
I'm not doing whataboutism. I'm doing this.
Oh my God. I'm not even gonna talk about what everybody else said because I don't understand some wrestling fans. I thought this was great. I thought this was amazing. This time next year, when people are talking about what happened in October in wrestling, this is what they're going to be talking about. Not what happened on NXT, not none of that bullshit that happened on SmackDown, not fucking anything that happened on Raw. This is what people are going to remember next year. Is this skit right here? And this shit was funny as fuck. You know, you got the GOAT, Jericho, 30 years in the business, 49 years old, about to be 50 years old. If he comes to the office and says, hey, man, I think we should do this, and this will be a fun laugh. And MJF is like, hey, I can sing too. Let's do this. And Tony Khan says, oh, yeah, you got 3 minutes? It wasn't like a 10-minute boring shit. Like, I don't understand, because when it was The Rock's birthday and fucking Mankind was out there for like 12 minutes, everybody was like, oh, shit, that was so great. But then y'all want to shit on this thing right here. Like, this was amazing. Like, this is so unorthodox when it comes to wrestling. Wrestling is supposed to be entertaining, and that's what they gave us, some entertainment. People want to bitch about, oh, well, Tony Khan said that it was going to be more sports-like. Yeah, they have the wins-losses record. But you can't go 2 hours or an hour and 35 minutes of just match. You got to have interviews. You got to have some funny shit. And this was funny as fuck. Like, this shit was mind-blowing, like genius. Like, it was just crazy as hell. Like, everybody watched this was transfixed and teleported to something they haven't seen before. When was the last time you seen a song and dance by two men, just singing and dancing around with each other, and just a classic old song that no one of us would have thought about? Because if WWE would have did this, they probably would have did a Flow Rider song or something that was hot 2 years ago. They went back in time and picked up a good song, and then they switched the word, and they killed it. They both were singing this. It wasn't lip synced. It wasn't somebody else singing it. It was these two fucking talented people, and I thought this was just proving how talented these two are. And, when Jericho's done in 2 years, when he's 51 and he says, I'm going to retire now, like, I'm going to look back at this and smiling instead of being a grumpy ass, guy shitting on this. I thought this was fucking amazing.
Hey,
go ahead.
So I wanted to clear something up real quick, and I'm glad you brought up the song, because when I said, Ryan, that I didn't know what was happening, I didn't mean I didn't get it.
I didn't say you did.
Okay. Because I just want to, because look, straight up, it's very clear that Villain talked about the song that they chose. It's very clear that they chose that song for a reason. And Dose talked about how they were, the contest, who's, the dick measure contest, whatever, and then talked about how they were in each other's dreams. MJF was in his own fantasy, Chris Jericho was in his own fantasy. The song that they picked was about being in your shadow. Obviously, they both think that they're in each other's shadow, and it's probably going to lead to MJF stealing the inner circle away from Chris Jericho.
Alrighty then.
I don't argue that. Either he steals it away, or Jericho's going to at least walk away with one member of the inner circle.
All right, let's move on. Next up, we had the last one of these matches tonight. We had Hangman Page and Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana came out. Hangman came out, did a pretty banging match. Hangman kept going for the buckshot lariat, and Colt Cabana had his number with that. Every time he went for it, he got out of the way. But the last time he faked him out and hit him with it, and 1, 2, 3. Then what was even weirder is the Dark Order. All of the Dark Order came out and picked him up and carried him off, almost like a babyface move. It was kind of odd, but it is what it is. I like this match. JB3, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was fine. It showed that, I'll be honest, we all know what the finals are going to be. Again, just like the other tournament. It would have been cool if he would have just like ran up and then like immediately hit the buckshot lariat, like right off, like, because they got that ramp that goes straight down and it's level to the ring. Like, Colt could have just been like standing there and he could have just walked in there, flipped, buckshot, ring the bell, 1, 2, 3, and then left. I get it though. He's depressed, so he's gonna have a 10-minute struggle. But it was a good match. Colt Cabana showed some like really like good aggression, like that big dive off the off the apron to the floor, and then he even tried the Superman. Obviously, he wasn't going to win, but he showed some type of he showed some fight, which is good for him and win the matches. But I still kind of wish that Hangman could have just like clotheslined him, and then we could have got that big build up to, because we're gonna get the big build up to Kenny versus Hangman. I mean,
yeah, I think so. All right, Villain, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think that they should have went tit for tat. Like JB3 was saying. I think he should have just came in, wiped them up, 1, 2, 3, and walked off. Pissed off, determined, focused, but they didn't do that. So they had to do like a longer match. And that's one thing I'm never gonna bitch about. I've said this plenty of I said this before. Like I don't mind because I don't want to see no 3-minute matches. Constantly on AEW. We've got that enough on SmackDown and Raw. So when they do these long matches, it's fine, but it kind of hampers Hangman, in my opinion. Because it's like, okay, you couldn't really finish Cole off that. It took you this long to finish Colt Cabana, even though he's a veteran. The Dark Order didn't really play too much of a factor in the match, so that was cool. It wasn't like no distractions. It was just at the very end they came in and rallied behind him, which was weird. They didn't do it on last week. They didn't do it on Dark, so I don't know where they're gonna go with that. But yeah, Hangman got the win, so he advances. So yeah, it was a match. I'll give it. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it like 2 stars. It wasn't the greatest thing. I probably won't remember it. I'll remember the Hangman advance, but yeah, I mean, it fulfilled the time slot, but that's about it.
Already, Dose, go ahead, brother.
Sidebar, I am not really sure what they're doing with the Dark Order. I thought that the promo earlier in the night was pretty good when Cole goes, "Me with my friends," and like, not friends, we're not friends, over and over again. And then at the end, they absolutely acted like friends. Like you said, it was almost a face move. Colt, being a 77-year-old veteran, really showed his stuff and showed his canny and his savvy. He actually did pretty well. I think this was actually a better match than I was expecting. That Superman, I think he just calls it the Superman. That was a good false finish, but the ending was never in doubt. I think it's sort of interesting that it looks like Kenny's gonna. I mean, I don't know if the same thing's gonna happen next week, but so far he's doing this in a walk, and the whole story has been Hangman Page is just a tag team wrestler, so now he's struggling in all of his singles matches. He's got to scrape, claw, and fight for every win. I at least think that's the story that they're still telling. I guess the rubber will meet the road next week when we see Kenny face Ray Phoenix. So the injury maybe will lead to a quick finish on that one as well. And obviously, Hangman's not just going to walk right through Wardlow. But I thought it was a good match. I thought it was fine. I have no issue with this match. I was a little bit confused by the Dark Order stuff, but I don't really care that much about what they do with the Dark Order. So, I mean, if I'm thinking at all about them, confusion, I suppose, is an emotion. So, that's something. But yeah, it's fine. But yeah, we can move on.
All right, Ryan, what'd you think?
Okay. So regarding the whole thing with the Dark Order, I can get how it's a bit complicated, but to me it felt kind of obvious. Without Brody Lee, the group's kind of directionless, which is why you see guys like Silver and Reynolds just going chaotic over on BTE where they like to fuck around with 5 and 10, and then you see on Dark how they're not backing up some of the boys in some of their matches because throughout the weeks in Dynamite and Dark, when Brody Lee was still around on television, when Dark Order, either any member of Dark Order had a match, all of them would come out together and stand in a line, or at least a few of them would be in support. But with Brody Lee off television, you do see the disarray there. So Brody Lee is the main guy, which is why. But this doesn't connect to Colt Cabana because Uno has been the one in his corner since Colt had that first loss with the Dark Order. But this match alone, I thought it didn't need to be that long. I felt maybe it could have been 10 like 11 minutes, or heck, they could have did like an interview to, or maybe before Hangman's entrance, someone approached him and said, "Hangman, Kenny's match." He took out Sunny Kiss within 16, 20 seconds, and then you can maybe try to see how it affects Hangman to where it could have played into his match to where he tried to end the match very quickly, but because Cole is such a veteran, it wasn't going to work out for him. But even then, Cole being able to counteract the ball lariat, being able to slow down Hangman's pace from time to time, it still shows that even if Hangman is not on the level of Kenny, he is dead set on trying to win this tournament, at least win this match. And I do appreciate the fact that Colt Cabana fully investing himself in Dark Order to where he is doing a little bit of dirty tactics. Not too dirty or so, but more of being more aggressive in his attacks. Sometimes trying to finish the match, but then, of course, you see a bit of the old Colt Cabana. Instead of actually doing a ground and pound or using a power move, he tries to use an aerial attack to finish, and you see how it fails him to where he ends up losing the match against Hangman. But all in all, I mean, once Brody Lee gets back on television, we might see a new direction. We might see the Dark Order once again try to establish their dominance. If not, I still like how this whole disarray, we're getting to see other personalities start to show out in the Dark Order.
Yep. All right, guys. JB3, you talked, did you not?
I did.
Okay, just making sure. All right. Next up, we had our main event, the 4-way tag team #1 contenders match. Speaking of Dark Order, Alex Reynolds got knocked the fuck out, and I felt bad for him. To the point that I saw a video that was taken afterward that actually Cody came out and checked on him. So that's gonna tell you something. This match was okay at best, in my opinion. We knew who was going to win. It was going to lead to FTR versus the Bucks at Full Gear. It was okay. It was okay. Paynemaker was good. Ryan.
Sorry, someone sent me a message. I was reading that, but to be honest, out of all the singles matches, I was actually the first time since Dynamite. This is the first time I ever Dynamite. I was actually a little exhausted. So when the 4-way tag match came on, I was just watching it. I wasn't trying to take no notes. Wasn't trying to find any highlights. It was just okay. Let's watch this. But other than that, I still enjoyed the match. The mesh of styles. I like how with Butcher and Blade, you see them trying to assert dominance throughout the match. And of course, with the Young Bucks, they're trying to be their old selves with their aggressive side, like from New Japan, also being some show-offs. Like when they called out FTR, telling them to watch them do their finisher. Had they not done that and actually did the finisher, they would have had that definite finish. I mean, the match would have ended that earlier, but it's clear with the Young Bucks changing their attitude, how it's affecting their wrestling. I was kind of hoping for some more athleticism out of Private Party, but whenever they got their moments to shine, either against Butcher Blade or Young Bucks, or the short time they had with Silver Reynolds, it was a good spot there. I think to me, this should not have been a 4-way. We should have had maybe like a 2-team face-off match. That way, each team had their opportunity to at least, get their time in, and there would not have been that much confusion, that much mass, which would not have been that chaotic. And of course, there's a certain spot that definitely did happen that I thought would not have happened if we just had like a 2-team separate, if we had 2 separate matches of tag teams.
All right, JB3.
Yeah, I mean, the match itself, I'm not going to break down too much of the match because we all got to talk about it. I do want to talk about one thing, and it's the only thing I'm going to talk about for this match. And that's my boy John Silver. I don't know. I don't care if he's a heel. Look, Nick Jackson might say best comeback in the business. It might not have necessarily qualified for a comeback. It probably kind of did, but homeboy wrecked everybody, yo. He don't even look like he could. I mean, his arms are huge. He's hilarious on BTE, so obviously, I mean, he can do a lot of stuff. But boy, he came in there, and I'm talking. I don't even remember all the stuff. European uppercuts, and then he did that pump kick, that bro kick, basically knocked dude down, and then he dove over the barricade with this big forearms, and this is like, I was like, dude, like, what happened? Where did that come from? Did you summon in Brody Lee or something? Like, I was just like, whoa, he just went out of nowhere. It was them kicks too. Like, there's people, okay, that do those little pop-up kicks on the ropes. For some reason, when John Silver does them, it sounds like he's caving their chest in or knocking their head off. And he don't even look like, I think that's what it is, because you look at him, he don't look like he'll do that stuff. But like him and Alex Reynolds in the ring, and I hope he's okay, because man, they be fucking up. AEW be fucking up. But they are so good. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, and that tag team combo they did with everything, like the kicks and the Germans and everything that they did, I was just like, oh my, that popped me more than anything in the match. I get it, Young Bucks, roll up. It was the callback to the private party match, whatever. It was cool. But my favorite moment was John Silver and Alex Reynolds, minus the getting knocked out part. Especially John Silver. He's like, well, he's turning into one of my favorites.
All right, villain.
Yeah, the match was, it wasn't that great. It was, especially with the Alex Reynolds stuff. That's my only downfall in this match was, I think they should have got him out the ring quicker. The ref should have put the X up for him, got him safely away, and then John Silver could have been without a partner, and then he could have wrecked shop like he did. This stuff needs to stop, where people getting injured and they just kind of keep going. The match could go on, but you should take care of the wrestler first. But yeah, I think I agree with Ryan. They should have broke this down into like 2 different matches. Then we have 2 different winners, and then they face each other, the week after next, right before the pay-per-view. Then we have number 1 contender. Like, whoever wins that, okay, now we know who's going. And it was super predictable. We knew, I knew anyway, that Private Party was going to be the ones that took the pin, because they're the ones that pinned the Young Bucks in the last tag team tournament. So it was what it was. The only thing I liked was at the very end, when they got jumped by the FTR and Tully, because at first the camera was kind of far from me, so I didn't realize that was Tully. I thought it was Sean Spears, because I was like, oh, this guy's arms are kind of big, because I wasn't really seeing the whole thing. He hit the Young Bucks with a chair. And then the ending was the best to me. Like, the in-ring action was whatever, because all these guys are fast-paced, all these guys can go. But the ending was what told the story. When they got the beatdown from FTR, and then from there, they put the chair on one of the Bucks. I forget who it is. And then they came off the top rope, man, and smashed his leg. It looked like maybe his leg is broken. So that was a cool development. But the one thing I'm kind of weird on is, like I criticized Raw, is like Young Bucks were acting like heels for the past month, super kicking people, throwing money down. And now they want sympathy from FTR, when it's like, why should we give you sympathy? Like, you guys were dickheads. Now you got your ass whooped by bigger bullies, and now you want to run home to your mama? It's like, no, that's not how the world works. So I don't know. But FTR is looking great, man. I'm so happy for FTR. They were good on commentary. They came down, put the ass whooping after the match, and I was digging that, man. That was the highlight of the match for me. Was that the aftermath? So yeah, that was cool.
All right, Evil Dose, wrap it up.
The positive. I will say that the Young Bucks are probably the best and most creative choreographers of tag team and multi-person matches in history. Not just now, but probably ever. All their matches are very creative. I think that they sometimes overdo it, though, and especially when the end was never in doubt. I mean, we've all known for a million years that it was going to be Bucks and FTR, and it was going to be Bucks and FTR at the next pay-per-view. So I think that played some role into, being a pretty sloppy match. There were good spots, but I think it was pretty sloppy. I am not criticizing anybody for the concussion. I'm not a professional wrestler. I don't know if anyone messed up. It's not a ballet. Stuff happens. It may be scripted and choreographed, but there's still bodies in motion there. So I don't know if there was anyone at fault for that. But the guy was prone for a long time, and nobody took control of that situation for a long time. My understanding is that's supposed to be the ref's job. They're supposed to put up the X sign. They did not. What I don't know is why. Were they just clueless, or were they afraid to interject in a match of such high stakes, or were they waved off by two of their bosses or one of their bosses who was in the ring with them? And I'm very concerned about that. I don't know if there's any truth to it. I don't know if there was overt waving off or if it was tacit and they said, geez, I'm going to get screwed if I do an X sign here in this build-up match to the pay-per-view. I'm obviously speculating, but these are professional referees. They know when somebody's hurt. They know that the guy was knocked out. Obviously, the players knew it because when all three of them jumped on him, not a single one of them connected at all. Which, by the way, Isaiah Swerve Scott managed to do that in the NXT as well. He did a spot where he dove off on three guys and managed to miss all three. But in this case, I realized after the fact that it was on purpose that they missed. Kudos to the Blade for getting Reynolds to the corner and doing the hot tag. Reynolds was on Twitter today, so he seems like he's, at least okay enough to be on Twitter. He seemed like himself. I mean, I don't know anything more than that, but I hope we'll be okay. But that was bad. That they got lucky, so we can move on from that. But I didn't think it was a particularly great match. It was fine. It got you to the end. The best part was the ending. The Tully part was sort of clever, though. I don't know why. I could see why someone would think it was Sean Spears because of the chair and all that, but after, focusing your eyes, it's pretty clear that wasn't Sean Spears. I mean, first of all, no tattoos on the arm. But Tully moves pretty good for 63 or 66-year-old or someone in that range. So that was all right. That was fine. And I don't mind the heel on heel dynamic. I think that both major promotions are playing with that a lot in this no crowd era. I think they're both trying to play a little bit with the realism that, people are complex. There's not necessarily heels and faces anymore, at least not all the time. So I don't mind that at all. But I don't know what's going to come out about this Reynolds thing. And I'm a little bit concerned about it because there were two, a lot of people said, well, if only there was an officer around. Well, two of the EVPs were right there in the ring. So,
yeah. All right, guys. One more.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Real quick. Because this is the end of. Was this the end of Dynamite?
Yes, it was.
So, did you guys realize that both NXT and Dynamite ended with a masked man revealing himself and standing tall with the tag team champions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Nope.
It's either cool or it's not cool at all. One of those.
We'll go with it's cool.
Yeah, we'll go with it was cool. All right, guys. One last thing. We got 4 matches to discuss real quick. Sunday night after Hell in a Cell, we will all be back here to discuss that and break it down. I was going to put T-Bar and The Fiend on there because I saw that online, but what I've seen is it hasn't been confirmed. So we're going to leave that on the back burner. First up, that was confirmed, we have Jeff Hardy taking on Elias.
When is Hell in a Cell again?
What?
Sunday.
When is Hell in a Cell again?
Yes.
This Sunday? Oh, I canceled my WWE's network, so that's why I'm wondering.
Anyways, if you look online right now, they have the network for 99 cents. Just pointing that out.
I don't care. I don't care if it's available for 1 cent. I'm not buying it.
Well, you're on a review show.
Oh, shit. someone's got beef with the network.
No, beef with the company.
Well, you're on a review show, but that's okay.
I mean, just change your email address and do the free trial every month.
I got people.
Anyways, all right.
In your
So
basement.
we got Jeff Hardy taking on Elias. With Elias having the return and actually getting through a performance on Raw without getting cut off, I think Elias wins this one. JB3, what you got?
I'm gonna have to give it to Elias.
All right, Dose.
Don't know, don't care.
Fair enough. Ryan?
Jeff. I think they're going to give Jeff the victory, and then whenever this feud continues, Elias is going to pick up Jeff.
All right, Villain. Jeff Hardy or Elias?
Jeff Hardy. I think that, the way the storyline is going, I think Jeff Hardy's picking it up.
Alrighty. Next up, I drew this here. It was the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. This is in the cell, one of 3. Fuck. I'm gonna go Drew McIntyre, even though I think Randy Orton should pick up the belt here. Villain, who you got?
I'm going Randy Orton. I keep going Randy Orton. This is the 3rd time, so hopefully 3rd time's a charm.
That's why I didn't go Randy Orton this time. JB3, go ahead.
It's just a toughie because this feud has been going on for a long time, and Drew has won so many times. Something might have to happen, and it might be the time for it to happen. So I'm going to have to agree with Villain. I think he's going to add to the name of people he beats in the Hell in a Cell.
Alrighty. Dose?
I don't really have a very good handle on this match. I was thinking that because this COVID era has been sort of so doldrum and there's so many things that are going bad for WWE, mostly of their own making, that they may want to take some of the pressure and blame off Drew and put it on Randy Orton, who probably really doesn't give a fuck at this stage and just wants to get to those 16 titles so he can get to, get this 14th one. But at the same time, I think that they want to soldier on with Drew and establish him as a champion, a long-term reign so even if he drops it at some point, I mean, of course he will at some point, that he had a long reign and he's sort of established in the main event conversation. And Randy has been so bad that he's, nasty and beating up all the legends and old men and things like that, I think they have to. I think they'll have to stay with Drew on this one. So, yeah.
All right, and Ryan, round us out.
I personally think Drew is going to drop the belt at the end of this year. I just don't think Randy Orton's the guy that's going to get it. So Drew is going to win this match.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the Universal Championship. Roman taking on Jey Uso again in a Hell in a Cell I Quit match. Villain, who you got?
Roman Reigns.
All right, JB3.
Roman Reigns.
There seems to be a pattern here. Dose.
Yeah, Roman Reigns.
Ryan.
I'm breaking the pattern. I'm going to say Jay. Not just to be a dick, because I think there could be a story here. I think there's a story here. So I'm going to think maybe if WWE goes to the shock victory. Sorry.
And I agree. The Tribal Chief's going to win this. All right. The match, I think, needs to main event this pay-per-view. It is Bayley versus Sasha Banks. This, too, is in a Hell in a Cell. I think Sasha Banks picks up the win here. JB3, who you got?
Totally Sasha Banks is going to win this.
Dose?
Sasha's time. She deserves it. Not only that, but she's going to have a nice, healthy, long title reign for a change, possibly until and beyond WrestleMania.
Who? Paynemaker.
It is Sasha's time. They've dropped the ball on her so many fucking times. Bayley, her reign has now, it's been longer than Charlotte Flair's, it's been longer than Rousey's, it's been longer than Becky Lynch's. I think now is the perfect time to cap this. Sasha, it's not like she deserves it, but right moving forward, with the new women on the SmackDown roster, Sasha can give every single one of them their best match. So Sasha is the perfect person to get this title. So I'm going for Banks, the boss.
And villain.
Sasha Banks.
All right. The reason I think Sasha's going to win is because 5 days after that, Mandalorian hits TV, and Sasha Banks is supposed to be a big part of it. So, Disney's giving him that cheddar to keep pushing her. All right, guys. That wraps up us here on Suplex City. Villain, why don't you go ahead and tell the people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Jack of All Trivia. That's how you get into our league. That's how you can play in different divisions. And of course, you can find me on YouTube at Jack of All Trivia, and on Thursday nights, YouTube at TMG Entertainment on Suplex City Chats.
Yes, sir. All right, JB3.
Well, yeah, you can find me right here, TMG Entertainment, TMG Trivia. About to drop some matches. I'm doing some co-hosting over there. They got the TM Geek Tournament, Nerd Entertainment Network, Combat Wrestling Trivia, November 8th, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's Survivor. It's actually going to be 2 nights, but I'm not going to talk about the other night because November 7th is all out, or not all out, the full gear. So, but definitely. But yeah, for all your movie fans and people who don't watch wrestling, Movie Trivia Challenge is going to have their part of Survivor on Saturday night. But Sunday night, 6 p.m. Boom.
All right, Dose, how about you?
Oh, it's an exciting week in the Evil Land. So we've got Garden of Doom. That's my podcast I do with Shaheen from Nuclear Heat Graphics. This week we did basically a simulcast with the Inhuman Experience podcast. So you can listen to our podcast or theirs. It's 99.5% the same. Just the intro and the closings are different. I think only the intro. Anyway, we do a deep dive into the Anunnaki. So we have all things from Babylonian and Sumeria. We take this bad boy to Easter Island. We do floods. We do Gilgamesh. We're doing it all. So if you like the ancient aliens or the Anunnaki, the Greys, come on in and give it a try. Also, before recording this show, we recorded my first wrestling podcast with Big Daddy Cool, Stephen Payne of Unpopular Review. So it's going to go up maybe tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Our working title is Hammerlock Hangover, but we are open to other suggestions, but that's probably what we're calling it for now. It's a name in progress, obviously, but you can check that out. If you like me, or you like to hate me, there's plenty of that there. And Steven is, he's got a similar sense of humor, but he's definitely more of the straight man.
Right on. And Ryan, tell us about you.
Well, Thursdays here on Suplex City Chats. I'll be, of course, if I'm not here on Thursdays, then you guys can also find me on TMG hosting Franchise Wars, the trivia division where we take your favorite movie franchises and we break it and we make a tournament out of it. We're at the end of our Star Wars tournament, and we are going to start a new one most likely maybe like around the holiday season, Thanksgiving or Christmas. And then also, you guys, if you are a fan of the movie trivia Schmodown, check my channel out, Mount Schmodown, where we do a pretty much a 30 for 30 or ESPN style breakdown profiles of Schmodown players. This week, we are continuing our Star Wars talk as we are talking about the funny man, the host of Sports Center podcast, Joseph Scrimshaw, and afterwards, starting on October 31st, we are officially going to be doing live episodes. All of our episodes up to this Saturday have been pre-recorded, but on the 31st is when officially we're going to be doing all our episodes live moving forward. Mount Schmodown. Check out the YouTube channel.
Oh, going live. And Matty G here. You can find me here hosting Suplex City Chats. Saturday nights we do After Dark. Sometimes they're takeovers, sometimes they're not. Sundays, except for when we have pay-per-views, we do Movie Mania right here on this channel. Like I said, this Sunday we'll be back to break down everything that happened in hell. Till then, everybody, too sweet Good